Have you ever played video games? I'm gonna get somewhere with this because when it comes to video games, one of the biggest things people looked for was the graphics. Now, remember the old games back in like 1990s, the two-dimensional Mario games or Zelda, things like that. And you're like, this is so realistic. I love this game. It's so action-packed. But eventually new games will come out and then it will look better and better. Then you get to like 1998, you had the WWE wrestling games. You see a video of Stone Cold Steve Austin. You look at his face plastered on some kind of computer animation. You're like, now that's realistic. But then a few more years later, you'll see another image and another until it looks almost identical to real life. Now, the reason I'm saying this is because this is kind of how our perception or belief in ourselves works. Because oftentimes we only know our current capabilities, so we only think this is as far as we can go. But then we achieve something and the previous endeavors are not as hard as they used to be, and you adapt. It's kind of like fitness. Once you put the load on your body, you adapt to it, get stronger, and you put new load until you get stronger and keep that process going. Now, when it comes to mental toughness or mental training and resilience, it's the same way. Now, let's talk about a guy named Sir Roger Bannister. Now, if you're not familiar with Roger Bannister, he's the first man to run under a 4-minute mile. Now, you probably think is, what's the significance of all of that? Well, for the longest, for about 40 years, no one would get close to breaking the 4-minute barrier. It would get to about 4:01 and it would just stay stagnant. People even were led to believe that it was just humanly and physically impossible because the body just wasn't built for it. It could even cause the heart to explode. But enter Sir Roger Bannister. So he was a med student, but also elite level track runner for England. Now, he would qualify for the 1952 Olympics, but unfortunately, in this Olympics, in the 1500 meter, which is a little less than a mile, they had to do 2 rounds, one for a prelim and the final. He would qualify for the final, but this kind of favored people who had much tougher regimens. Mind you, Roger was still in med school, so he had to balance learning as well as doing his running. So he didn't have as deep a training regimen as some of the other athletes. Now, while he would do some great things and break British records, he would get 4th place in the final, meaning he just missed the podium. So that put a fire under him. So his next endeavor was, okay, I didn't win the Olympics, so let's break the 4-minute barrier. So he would go on to have a race with less than ideal qualities, and he would even not be even favored to win said race, but going against the wind, as well as having not a great environment set for breaking an amazing record like sub 4-minute mile, he would go on to pass the finish line and collapse the ground and hear new world record with a time of 3:59.4. He had just beat it. But this wasn't the big point of all this, because about a month later, he would run again, this time against an Australian runner named John Landy, who would go on to beat Roger's record, and they both would go under the 4-minute barrier. So now within 1 month, something that hadn't been broken in 40 years had just become broken 3 times in a month period. So within a year, about 5 or 6 people had done it. Within about 5 years, 20 people have done it. And since then, about 3,000 plus people have done it. Some have even been high schoolers. So getting back to my point, you see how it constantly got pushed further because the belief that it could be done was always needed. So this is not get over the top saying if you just believe it automatically happens, but if you don't even have that standard of belief that it's possible, how could you actually do it? And that's exactly what happened with Roger Bannister. So when it comes to your endeavors, if you've been stuck on a lift and you can't get past it, do you even think and see in your mind's eye that it can be done? Have you visualized yourself doing the lift? I know a lot of people talk about mindset and visualization, but practice in your head doing the lift successfully. Practice failing, just barely missing. Practice how it feels, the tension. Same thing with your career goals. Do you see that it's even possible that you can get better to move up? We all know what it takes, hard work, dedication, that's great. But how many times have you seen it happen? And once you see it and perceive it, you can achieve it. And once you achieve it, you just push that bar a little more and a little more. And before you know it, your baseline that used to be so hard be something like a warm-up, whether it be physical or mental. So this is just an idea of how you can see things and make them better once you're perceiving how it can actually be done and you go out and do it. So thanks for tuning in, guys. And as always, get your mind right.